4-0, and we are doing some humble pie today. Welcome to All Red TV. I'm here with my brother from another mother, Aldo, and the young Padawan, Ben, who's sipping his Diet Coke, I presume, or Diet Pepsi. Well, yeah. Okay, welcome again to All Red TV. We will do a little bit of talk about the game yesterday, of course, and the way forward, and possibly a little bit about the game coming up against Brighton. Now, Aldo, how are you today?
I'm okay, mate. Yeah. Personally, I'm okay, but to be honest with you, I'm extremely pissed off with the squad. Absolutely annoyed. Not with the fact that they've won, but the fact that they're deciding on when they actually fucking turn up and play. Because we've dropped 5 points in the league to Wolves and Tottenham. We couldn't beat Wolves. We lost 2-0. We drew with Spurs, who are absolutely shocking. And then they put in a performance like that last night. Now, if that's not a team what's deciding when they're turning up, rather than the coach telling them what to do, then I'm watching a different Liverpool. Because, yeah, it was a fantastic performance, but let's be honest here. And yes, I will eat humble pie. I predicted we'd go out, and it's the only result I got wrong of the teams who I said would go through. Liverpool are the only ones who I said would go out, and they've proved me wrong. Everyone else I've got right. So, yeah, I can get a prediction wrong. I don't mind that. But Galatasaray were fucking horrendous. Galatasaray were pathetic last night. Absolutely pathetic. From 1 to 11. And the thing that annoyed me as well, when we kicked off...
We'll get into that.
Hang on. Why did Dominic Szoboszlai kick the ball out of touch for a throw-in straight away?
I don't know, but we'll get into that. How are you today, Ben? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Just sending the link today.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't find it right away. So, yeah, you okay today?
Yeah. Better than the Liverpool win.
Yeah, we all are better than after a Liverpool win.
Yeah. The endorphin boost was nice, but the reality on the quarterfinals when PSG put the first goal past us in the second and the third.
Yeah.
Hello.
And there's the guy who needs subtitles. Welcome, Dick.
How are we?
How are you today?
I'm good. Sorry, I'm late on, lads.
Yeah, well,
I did think we'd be doing a post match, so I'm here. Of course, I'm here. I'm trying to be regular. I'm trying to get on as much as I can.
You're trying to hang with the normal people.
Hey, listen, I'm doing my best.
But I mean, we have to talk about the game yesterday, and you were there, Dick, so I can start with you. I mean, Anfield was buzzing from what I've heard and seen from before the match kicked off and everything. And Slot said he would do some changes, and he did some changes. He did a more 4-4-2 kind of play that he's tried before as well. Aldo was talking about it a little bit before you came along about they showed up. Do you think the performance yesterday was a result of a poor team, an Anfield, the tactical change, or was it something that you felt were more the big reason than any of the other ones?
I think it definitely played a part. I think obviously Galatasaray, they're not the best team in the world, but I've also seen Liverpool this season put in really good performances against the Aston Villa, against the Real Madrid. But last night for me was up there with one of the best performances I've seen all season. For me, it was my most favourite game that I've been to all season. I think yes, it is Galatasaray, and that does play a factor, but of course, but I'm not going to take anything away from the lads there. I think Anfield was spot on. Craig, you know yourself, mate. We talk quite regularly.
Yeah.
The atmosphere this season has been subpar in and around Anfield. I've sat in a couple of different spots. Even I've been in the Cop more times than others, but even in the Cop, it hasn't been up to standard. And I think that Tottenham game was the straw that broke the camel's back on Sunday. Dominic Szoboszlai come out and made a few comments and mentioned we'd be lucky to get Conference League football. And I think it was what the lads needed to hear. They needed the crowd to boo them at the end of that, the end of that game against Spurs. And they needed the players to realise that this can't carry on any longer. And what a way to show that that they have listened, should I say. And it is Galatasaray, and let's not be honest, let's not beat around the bush. Let's be honest, they are shit, and that but overall, the players, the performance from minute one, we were at them. I had, you've got players like Jeremy Frimpong, Vic Allison, Van Dijk, Canate, Szoboszlai. Everyone's like this, getting the crowds up yet from minute one. It didn't quiet down after when the second half started or anything like that. And I think for me, you can't say that just because it's Galatasaray. That's why we won, and it was a good game. I think everyone done their job yesterday.
I totally agree, and we've talked about it earlier as well. That, and I'll go to you now, Ben. We've talked about that they were missing their best defender in this game due to suspension, if I'm not mistaken. And Osimhen also got injured pretty early, so we, as Deck also says, we have to factor in that they were a weak side. But I still think that our performance was a good one. What about you, Ben? Do you think the same?
I've been one of the few who've had no standards for most of these players for the majority of the season, because they've let me down time and time again. Every time I tried to back them, I just get shot down. But last night, you can't really say it was just because it was Galatasaray. Those players turned up. Like, you could see it from the minute dot they wanted that win. And let's not act like Osimhen didn't play about 20 minutes before he got injured and was completely nullified and useless.
Yeah, of course it was. I mean, but when you lose, what I thought about why he didn't get subbed off after that injury when they saw he didn't play or could play, I have no idea. I
saw Galatasaray fans also on social media complaining about the referee last night, and I have not laughed more in the last 24 hours than I have for most of this year. Yeah. Because it is ironic of them to talk about refereeing performances after last week. As I mentioned to even played last night.
No, I mean them complaining about that is just hilarious, and seeing Baris going down 2,584 times and not getting one free kick is one of the best things I've seen so far since I saw the same person in Beavis and Butthead, because his haircut is just the same. Although, what are your thoughts about the game yesterday? Did we do good, or was it just
No. Listen, you've asked me an honest question. I'm going to give you all an honest answer because that's what you deserve. And I don't believe, like some fan channels where they skirt around the houses and walk on fucking eggshells. I'm not here to do that. I think the thing that really did piss me off was the kickoff when Dominic Szoboszlai put it out for a throw into them straight away. What the fuck are we playing at? I mean, why is every team playing it long now? It's a joke. Stop it. But for the first time this season, we've had, you can laugh, but, it's my opinion. But for the first time this season, we've actually played like we played under Jurgen Klopp, with intensity, with pace, with press. They couldn't handle it, right? Ernie Slot, I've never seen him as animated on the touchline ever since he walked through the fucking doors. And then he was having to go up the referee and the fourth official, and the cop were backing him. All four stands were backing him. There were Galatasaray fans in there, so Steve McManaman was wrong and TNT. They were in there, but they kept the shirts covered or whatever. But I think it's the best performance of the season, and we thoroughly deserve to go through. Yes, I was proved wrong, and I'm quite happy to eat humble pie. I got my prediction wrong, but my prediction was simply because of what Liverpool have. You can all fucking laugh. I don't care. You can all laugh because what Liverpool have served up this season. You justify to me how the fucking hell can you lose to Wolves 2-0, draw with Spurs 1 apiece, and then fucking turn up like that last night and put a performance on like that? It was fucking disgusting. Them players are deciding when they're turning up and when they're going to play. And I'm on a rant now. Don't be surprised if we're back to normal on Saturday at 12 and we lose to fucking Brighton. End of. That's
well,
me. Right, next.
That's what I was gonna say as well. Like with the most consistent inconsistent team.
A group of charlatans.
Yeah,
that's what they are.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Although I agree with you. You're
Can we address the elephant in the room? I think the temperature in Craig's house has dropped 30 degrees after he's had all that smoke.
Yeah.
No,
He's trying to save on his electric bill. So
listen, guys, you all back Liverpool to go through, and I said we go out. But can you three stooges there, Curly, Larry, and Moore, right? Can you all agree with me here that we are not beating fucking PSG?
yeah, but not.
Wait, now. You're turning into arc right.
Yeah, but you're not chewing your humble pie. You're just swallowing it whole. Listen, take a breath, chew the humble pie, and listen to me, brother. Listen,
I don't chew. I've no clack.
Listen to me, brother. None of us have said we're beating PSG.
Fine. Just
listen,
answer
brother.
my question.
Yes, I'm going there. I'm going there. None of us have said we're going to beat PSG. First of all, nobody's ever said that. Me and Ben said it last stream as well. We didn't think about that. Now, none of us either is saying that everything is solved and all is hanky-dory and everybody's happy and shiny happy people by REM on their speakers. We're not talking about that, but we're talking about that we did some changes and players showed up and the stadium showed up. Now, another thing is, I'm like you, although I'm concerned about the game against Brighton. Now, because that's another game we've sucked in the Premier League, and I fear that we may be down to our usual self again.
Yeah.
But if we play with 4-4-2 again, I don't know. Did Salah get injured? Have anyone heard about that one?
Yeah. He has to come off because he
but haven't heard anything in there.
Sloss said in his post game that they'd monitor him until the weekend. It's a bit hit. They don't really know at the minute, but he did ask to go off because he felt something like Craig said. And it's not surprising because I've not seen Salah run that much around the pitch all season.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that, Ben. Yeah,
but I will rephrase the question from Aldo I'll start with you, Deck. If let's say we play the same formation, let's say we are able to start the same team. Do you think the formation or the tactical changes or the roles or whatever you want to call it can be a kind of a turning point? Because we have tried it before with a little bit sort of success, but we had more injuries and players out of form than we do now.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I am worried about the weekend because I think we really need to get Champions League football. It's crucial. But we tried to rotate against Spurs. Rio Engamo, he rested Ekatike, rested Kanate, brought Salah on, stuff like that. So goes to show you can rotate, but it doesn't always work. I think the lads who played yesterday, I wouldn't change it. I would say, do you know what? One of the best performances, if not the best performance all season. Go again. I know it's an 12:30 kickoff, but get it out the way, and then you've got a whole week off until we play Manchester City in the FA Cup. I would just say to the lads, just use all this motivation, all this, positivity, just to go into the weekend against Brighton, and we go again. I wouldn't go changing it. I wouldn't bring Gakpo back into the team. Salah's touch and go at the moment. We don't really know. But even if Salah can't play, we do have an option where you could potentially play Frimpong on that right and drop Joe Gomez at right back, as long as Szoboszlai, I think, stays in that midfield. But rotation doesn't always work. But I think to answer your question, I think they just have to go again. You keep the team exactly as it is, and you go again.
And to you, Ben, I mean, for me, it looked like the style of play we were trying now with the 4-4-2 variant gave them a little bit of confidence. Maybe it was easier for them to follow through on the pressing. It was easier to know where everybody was and do the collective work together. Now, I agree with Dick, and we've talked about this 2,508 times as well, that Dominic Szoboszlai can never play right back again.
Yeah.
I mean, if I mean, I would rather see Aldo at right back than but I mean, anyone but him, because the midfield doesn't work without him, and we saw that yesterday. Now, what do you thought? Do you think that we should continue the way that, I mean, the tactical disposition? Do you think that was? Do you think if we play the same tactical disposition and the style of play, do you think we have a better chance against Brighton than with the normal 4-3-3 that sucks apples?
Yeah, because I saw a thing after the game, and it was the average position map, and every player was in the positions they should be in. Verts in the left central pockets. Frimpong and Kerkez, they were holding width. Salah and Ekitike playing off each other. McAllister further forward than Gravenberg. Like, all the players benefited, and something I've been saying, and we'll all remember Stephen from Anything Liverpool. Me and him have been saying for a long time that a lot, especially him, one of our biggest problems was the midfield getting overloaded because of the lack of energy on the wing. Sobo and Frimpong changed that. As we saw Sobo yesterday, turned into Kante, covered every blade of grass. And for once, even though Galatasaray didn't really have any issues, regardless, we didn't let them, because we didn't let them overload the midfield.
But do you have any hope? Let's say we play the same formation and basically the same style of play, and the players maybe one or two changes due to injuries. Do you have a little big higher hope for the Brighton game?
No, I just think, to be honest with you, I know what's coming. It's going to be the same shit show again as we've seen in the Premier League all season. Why should it change with 8 games to go? You've got a manager who knows. Sorry, coach. He's not a manager. He's a coach. You've got a guy who knows he won't be there next year. And then for some strange reason last night, he decided to morph into Jurgen Klopp and get his team playing Jurgen Klopp football for the first time all season.
Yeah.
I don't expect anything from Saturday. To me, I just think it's going to be the same old again.
But why do you think he tried to play club football instead of his own football? Why do you think that was the reason?
I don't think it's him. I think it's the players. I think my honest, truthful opinion. I honestly think that squad of players want to win the Champions League. That I think they want that more than anything else. And last night proved it. It wouldn't. I don't think we will. I don't think we will beat PSG over 2 legs.
No.
And I know people are saying PSG are not the same team. Really? They've just fucking pumped us Chelsea 8-2. And this is a team what's shite under the Olders. So if they pump Chelsea 8-2, what are they going to do to Liverpool? Seriously. But I think you've asked me, I think, I'll be honest with you, I think the squad of players have decided within the group, I think they've all had a meeting and they've decided they want to win the Champions League. I think they've down tools in the Premier League for me. And we'll find out at 12:30 on Saturday.
Do you agree on that, Nick? That the players have just decided that they don't give a shit about the Premier League?
Look, I don't think it's a case of they just don't give a shit. I think it's just too far gone. I think you made a good point there, Craig. I think now the priority for the likes of an Alisson, a Mo Salah, a Virgil van Dijk, for them guys to get it on a bit. It's probably going to be the last year at the club. They really do want a Champions League, and I said this at the start of the season. I said if they could pick on the back of winning the league last year, They want another Champions League under their belt. Mo Salah wants another Champions League under his belt. Virgil van Dijk wants another Champions League. So you could look at it on metaphorically and think, well, they probably have down tools because there's 8 games left. There's 8 games left. We've been shit in the league all season. They're gonna probably just limp across the finish line, get top 4, get top 5, qualify for Champions League next season. That's if we don't go and win the Champions League. Of course.
But why would Dominic Szoboszlai come out with the warning that he said after the Tottenham game that if we don't fuck up or shape up, we will play Conference League?
Well, exactly. And the other side of that coin is, that yesterday's performance could have been coming off the back of, yesterday's performance could have been coming off the back of what Szoboszlai said, where actually we need to sort our shit out. It could be what Craig's saying. They could have just thought, you know what, we're going to put all our eggs into the Champions League. But I also think that they've had the word and they thought this can't happen anymore. I think, like I said at the start of the show, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was at that Spurs game and it was the atmosphere, the players, everyone was walking around like they had a rain cloud over them, and it was terrible. And I think that was the final straw. And I hope that they haven't down tools, and I hope that we don't get Conference League footy, and I hope that we qualify for Champions League. But I also think that we are going in hard on this Champions League now. And I think I'm not saying we're going to beat Paris Saint-Germain, but I think we will put up a good fight. If we hold our own over in the Parc de France, we get the second leg back at Anfield. You've seen what happened yesterday. I know it's only Galatasaray and it's a completely different kettle of fish, but they've been there before, and the likes of, like I said before, Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson Becker, players like that, Andy Robbo, the senior guys in that football club, in that team, separate to Arnie Slot, they will want a Champions League, and they will want to try and get anything they can and leave that on that pitch against Paris Saint-Germain.
But I'm not just so we're clear here, although I'm not giving the players a free pass for this season by any means, just as you and I are agreeing on that one. But if you take the Spurs game and you take the game yesterday, first of all, it's a little better team against the other one. It's a 2 different style of plays. That's one thing. But the other thing is also that the fact that we did a tactical change again. We kind of went back to basic again. Like that's worked for us in the past. Now, what I struggle with is that I can't get into that state of mind where I'm thinking that this is a collective conspiracy from the players, that they consciously say, well, I'm not going to run as fast. You understand? I can't get it into my head. I understand the principle that they understand that the Premier League is over, but I still don't get the fact that they collectively going to say, well, we're going to work at 80% and then focus on Champions League. I don't think that. And Ben, what do you think? What do you think? Although is right here, or is there something in between, or what do you think? Because as I said, there was tactical changes yesterday, and that had effect. I mean, it has to have. We've played 4-3-3 now in the Premier League for 20, 30 games, and it has been shit. So it may be the system and the tactics that's not working, and we have a slow Dutch coach who can't see it.
No, I don't know. Some players do look like, I mean, unknowingly so, some players aren't showing the Champions, they should. But at the same time, like, Spurs and Wolves, they're better teams than Galatasaray. So naturally, they're going to play. Definitely.
Yeah.
Where are Spurs better than Galatasaray? Spurs have not won a game since 28th of December until last night, and they still went 5.
Still better.
But they are playing in the tougher league. They're
everywhere,
playing in the tougher league.
Everywhere. Look at that Galatasaray. If you ask anyone in Turkey, they'll tell you Galatasaray are not a good team. They just get a lot of favourable decisions. And last night proved that. They didn't get the favourable decisions, and they were exposed. They were wide open.
can I just interject? Obviously, I was inside Anfield, and I had a feeling. I've been to a lot of games this season, and I had a feeling yesterday from when that whistle kicked that game off last night, and the crowd and everything. And just to touch on what you're saying there, Ben, about Galatasaray and the favourable decisions. Inside the first 12 minutes, they was on the ground for 7 of them 12 minutes.
Yeah.
We ended up having 5 minutes added on at the end of that first half. Now 6 or 7 of them first at 12 minutes in that first half, Galatasaray players are rolling around the floor, doing everything they can to get the referee to stop that game. And granted, the game was stopped, and they were already time wasting from the very start of that match last night.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of the atmosphere and because of the players and because of the crowds and because of Anfield, we were just the better team on the night. And they are shit. They are shit. But if that was another 9 times out of 10, we'll beat Galatasaray. But that one time, they would get them free kicks. They would get them fouls against us, and you might have a player booked or a player sent off, penalties given, stuff like that. So on the night, it just didn't work out for them. But Ben, I think you're completely spot on there. I think they are a team that just have a lot of favourable decisions go their way, and unfortunately, that shit just didn't work. And I feel we were too powerful for them on the night.
I mean, I agree with Alred about the tactical changes Slot made, but nobody yet has explained to me, and nobody on TV's explained it yet, how Liverpool can go from putting in 2 shit shows against Wolves and Spurs. Right, Spurs are 16th in the league, fighting relegation, and they're a point clear. Yet they turn up and perform like they did last night. The two don't add up together.
I was in the middle of explaining.
How you can go from one extreme to the fucking other.
Ben, I interrupted you. Sorry, Ben. Carry on, mate.
I made a good point, but I was going to explain. The positions are fooling people. Wolves are the much better team than the league table suggests right now. Since January 1st, Wolves have been much better than a 20th place team. Burnley have been the worst team in the league, not Wolves. Spurs, regardless of the position, have a lot of quality in their squad, whether you like it or not.
And missing 12 players.
And they're missing 12 players.
Yeah, but
the difference, Craig,
on the bench.
Craig, give him time.
I'm trying to answer your question, Yella. And the difference in physicality is Wolves and Galatasaray. The difference between the two is Wolves and Spurs midfielders powerful, but they're also good at football. Galatasaray's midfielders, bar Gabriel Sara, are just physical. That's it. They're not good footballers, and
so that's your excuse for dropping 5 points in the league and then showing up last night?
No, it's not an excuse. It's a factual thing. The difference in physicality and quality between those 3 teams is evident.
There is a difference.
It's not like last night was just a one-off thing. Last night would have happened in Turkey if we just put one of the first chances away early in the game. What happened is we dominated. It was a similar thing last week in the first leg, but we just didn't take the chances, and they got the favourable decisions as they always do in that ground. It would have been 15-1. It would have been 15-1 on aggregate if we just took the chances like we did last night in the first leg. Last night wasn't a fluke. Last night was like the Wolves games. We lost because they took their only 2 chances, like Galatasaray took their only one of their 3 chances, whereas we didn't take. And then the following game, we battered them because that's what should have happened in the prior game, but it didn't. The luck was on their side in the second leg. The quality of our players.
So what's your excuse for the 43 minutes onwards against Spurs then?
But although there's a difference between an excuse and explanation, they are 2 different things.
I've never
excuse, that's not taking responsibility. Explanation is.
I've not once since full time, and bear in mind I didn't watch the Spurs game, so I can't defend the players or excuse it. But I never once backed that second half or excused it.
But my point here, although, is that when I'm not excusing the Spurs game or the Wolves game or any of the other shit games we had, but if I'm being put to work, I'm good at my work. Okay, I do my job. But if I am put to work in an environment that I don't know where my coworkers are or what they're supposed to do or whatever, I will do a poorer job, and so will all my coworkers. Now, if you put me in my known habitat, if you put me in where I'm used to work, I know who I can call to and ask for help or give me tools or whatever. If I have that around me, I perform better. Now, I think that's the reason why we do better in the 4-2-2 system than the 4-3-3.
It also helps when the bosses, in football terms, the referees aren't trying to screw you and over and hamper you with every possible opportunity, like they were in Turkey.
But still, if I mean, you run more, you perform better as a player, as an employee, if you have the structure around you to do so. If you're put in another environment, you're not going to be as effective as you would be. That's my explanation, although not my excuse.
No, that's nice.
And going back to a point which you brought up, Alred, when Dominic Szoboszlai gave the press conference and he came out and said, this can't happen. I don't know what's going wrong and why it's going wrong. And if this happens again, we'll be playing Conference League football. That was a swipe at the coach. That was a swipe at Ernie Slot just because he didn't say his name. And then, 3 days later, they go and perform like that? I'm telling you, the players have decided. The players are making the decisions here, not Ernie Slot.
Arne Slot.
I don't know what you're saying,
but listen, Craig. He took a dig at the manager. I agree, but the manager did a change.
What? So
he did a change.
He made one change, and now we're suddenly world beaters.
Yeah, but it wasn't one change. It wasn't one change. He didn't say that Szoboszlai, now you play good. He did one change that collectively changed the team. Now, if I work with computers. If I get a typewriter, I'm going to suck. But I can still type, but I'm going to suck.
Well, let's see how many times he does it now for the rest of the season then.
Well, I think that's the big thing, isn't it, lads? We'll see what happens for the rest of the season now, and then we'll know our answer to our debate, isn't it? Because we're never going to know the answer until we look at the Brighton game on the weekends. We're never going to know the answer, are we? Have they threw away the league? Have they decided that they're just going to go for the Champions League? Craig, you could be right. We don't know, lads. How long's a piece of string? You can't. There's no right or wrong answer right now.
I agree with you,
but I think, as Dex says, I think we will find out on Saturday. I mean, if we go back to the 4-3-3, which we all know doesn't work, then I think it's going to be more difficult to find out if the players are doing it on purpose or it's the tactical dispositions again.
But how long do you think? How many times do you have to use it to realise it doesn't work? If it doesn't work once, you don't use it again, surely.
Yeah, but Ben has stated now for 2 years almost that he's Dutch. He's stubborn.
Yeah, Dutch aren't the only nationality what's fucking stubborn. The British are as well.
Yeah, but I'm not British. So
I mean, I am. I've also never once stated it was a mutually exclusive problem.
No, but my point is, let's say we play the same system, all right? Just for the sake of argument, we play the same system, and then we go back to not running. Brighton will run 1 mile more than we do. We will not manage to string 2 passes together. Then it's not the system. Then it's the players or the mentality. But whose responsibility is the fucking mentality? That's the manager.
But they don't trust him. They've clearly lost trust, that's for sure. If you can't see that, then I don't know what Liverpool you're watching. But they clearly don't trust the guy. You know, and I agree with Deck. I think, you know, looking at it not from a Liverpool point of view, but football in general, if Liverpool are going to get past get past PSG, they've got to go to the Parc des Princes and perform. If they go there and perform like they did last year, Liverpool are going out. I know we lost on penalties last season, but and Ernie Slot, he's already said they've not dropped in how they're playing. They're still a very good team. Yeah, he wants revenge. Of course he does. But revenge can be a dangerous thing. I think Liverpool, if they go and play PSG like they did last night, they've a chance of going through. But if we're honest with each other, and we are 99.9% of the time, when you look at the last 8 now, I honestly can't see Liverpool getting past PSG or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, whoever we're facing in the semi. I can't call the other games.
No, but nobody here is arguing you when it comes to the Champions League here. Although we're not arguing there.
No, what I'm saying is, if they perform like they did last night in the Parc des Princes, they've a chance of going through. But how many times have we played like that this season? You can count on
we haven't. But the point is, if we play like that against Brighton, which is the first game now that comes on Saturday, if we play like that, and we won't because it's an early kickoff, we fucking hate them. Yeah. And the fans are not going to be, well, maybe the away fans because they've been drinking on the train or the bus all the way down. But we don't like early games. But I would like to see the 4-2-2 and try that in a league game as well.
We're talking about PSG, lads, but we've got Manchester City before that, I think, haven't we?
Yeah, the next 5 games, the 6 games we have is Brighton away. Then we have City and the FA Cup, which is away. I don't think we're going to lose to City. And
our next home game's Fulham.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in between the PSG legs.
Yep. And we have for the next 6 games we have Fulham at home and the second leg against PSG. The rest is away or a neutral ground. The Chelsea, City game is away as well. So it's not looking good for us. I mean, in my opinion, I think we can get a point or maybe win if we perform like we did. If we're not against Brighton, if we don't perform like that, we're going to fuck up like we always do. I don't think we're going to beat City. I don't think we're going to beat PSG over 2 games. I think we can beat Fulham at home and Everton away. A point maybe.
I've said in multiple times now since the game, after I look at the next few games, it's the most Liverpool thing ever to either win the City game or the PSG tie and then lose the derby in the Fulham game.
By much.
It's very Liverpool. It genuinely is the most Liverpool thing ever.
Yeah, we beat Paris Saint-Germain and then lose the derby.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, I can see us if we're going to be Liverpool, we're going to win at City, and we're going to beat PSG, and we're going to lose to all the 3 other games.
Right. So the 3. Right. So here's one for you then, lads. Right. Okay. So the PSG game, that's 2 legs. We know that. The FA Cup away at City, and then the Merseyside derby. Would you be happy losing to City and PSG and beating Everton, or would you sooner beat PSG and City or lose to Everton?
I'd beat PSG and City and lose to Everton, me.
I don't care about a derby loss like that. At the end of the day, I'll be over if we go and win the Champions League.
Yeah.
And if we say we go win the FA Cup and the Champions League, what's one loss in the season when we've lost about 13,000 times going to do?
I mean, to be honest, I mean, looking at Manchester City, I think they look very vulnerable at the minute.
City, people are looking at that tie and thinking, "Oh, Liverpool are not got a chance." All of our own fans, we have definitely got a chance because City are going to rotate in that game. Probably so will we, because obviously we'll have our mind on PSG game. But City are going to rotate and think, and they might be, their morale might be down. So I think they'll lose on Sunday.
Because I'm not sure we're going to rotate that much since we have 1 week off until that game.
It's not really a week off, though. It's 6 months off. It's on international duty, so it's more just.
I would, if I could pick, I would choose to win against City and win against Everton because I have no faith in we beating PSG or winning the Champions League at any stage this season. So
if we beat PSG, you don't think we can go on and win it?
No, I mean if we beat PSG, then I'm not scared of Bayern or Madrid. We've already beaten Madrid this season.
You know why? Because the most annoying thing is, and this happens every year, guys. It's spring now, and what happens every spring? Real Madrid wake up and PSG wake up in the Champions League, and I predict PSG will win it again. I don't see anybody stopping them.
that only applies to Real Madrid. PSG have got to do it more than once to prove that they can just wake up in the spring like some sleeping giant.
Yeah, but their performance is getting better now that it's kind of tightening in. It's the home stretch, but
Barcola's going to miss the quarter-final game, which is huge. He's been their best attacker by a landslide this season.
But I don't remember, guys. But what did you say when we had the discussion last time? Who we thought was going to win the Champions League? I said Real Madrid. No, I said Arsenal.
You said Arsenal, yeah. I said PSG.
I still think Bayern Munich at the minute.
I can't remember what I said actually.
I
think just to play devil's advocate, I'm going to say Liverpool.
I think you said PSG, Deck, to be honest.
I think I did, to be honest with you.
Okay, but we kind of agree that we're not going to win the Champions League. Now, no.
Never say never.
No, but with that in mind, with that backdrop that we've had now for the season so far, that's why I would rather we beat get the points needed for Champions League next year in the season and beat City to get the FA Cup. That's why I'm going that way instead of beating PSG.
Can I point out something interesting?
Qualify for Champions League and win the FA Cup.
Yeah, I think that's more doable than somehow soldier on through the Champions League and
can I point
get another miracle.
Can I point out something interesting? Yeah, Liverpool have only lost the first leg and then gone on to overturn it 3 times or twice before. And both times in the that happened, we went to the final. 2007 and 2019 when we lost to Chelsea, Stamford Bridge in 2007, then overturned and won at Anfield on pens. Then obviously in Barcelona 3-0, then 4-0 win.
Yeah, but every time you do something good or something bad, you're one game closer to the opposite. So statistics is always made to be broken. Except
well, I mean, if that's the case, we've been shit all year, so we should win the FA Cup, the Champions League, and get fucking top 4. So,
yeah, but like we did when we went in 2005, we were shit that season as well.
Yeah, exactly. Look, lads, like I said, we're never gonna know, are we? I think the Brighton game and then going into an international break, I'm sure, that's really gonna prove like whether the mentality has shifted, whether Craig's right in what he's saying in regards to the lads focusing on Champions League football. I think that Brighton game on the weekends, it's an 12:30 kick-off, so we have to take that into account, like you said, Aaron. We hate them kick-off times, 12:30. But you never know, lads. I think that's gonna be that Brighton game is going to answer a lot of questions that everyone's having between last night and then.
All you've got to do is look at the performances we put in the Champions League against Real Madrid, against Inter Milan, right, against Galatasaray, and look at the performances we've been putting in the Premier League. They are night and day.
But that's the quality of the teams we're playing.
No, I'm not. No, yeah. I'm not having it.
Yep.
So over 30 games, the best league in the world is the Premier League and the most difficult. But over 30 games, we've put the worst defence of the Premier League what's ever been seen up.
Haven't we talked about a certain death that kind of fucked us up in the start of the season? Haven't we talked about injuries and a poor manager as well? There are many factors here, although. But I just want to talk about one thing that we kind of slipped away from.
I'll just agree with what you 3 guys are going to say, because you're not agreeing with what I'm saying anyway.
Yeah, but we're talking about it now, aren't we?
Yeah, I'll go with what you guys say, because obviously I'm seeing things completely different to you 3.
Yeah, but okay, let's semi-change the subject. We were talking about performance of the team yesterday, and we talked about Salah running like haven't seen in a while. Dominic is an absolute monster at the midfield. But how many of you thought Salah was going to score that goal when he had that shot? Because 2 years ago, everybody knew that he was going to score the goal. Now, those shots so far this season have ended anywhere else but in goal. So I kind of didn't get excited. But that was classic Salah now, wasn't it?
I was more confident he'd score that than the pen.
Sorry?
I was more confident he'd pen that one top ends than he'd score the pen. I've not been confident of a Salah pen for the last 2.5, 3 years.
No, he's been useless at penalties, but he hasn't put many of those shots away this season now, hasn't he, Deck?
No, not at all. When he hit that and it curled in, I was like, oh my God, I was stood there with my mouth wide open. I couldn't. I was gobsmacked. I was just like, wow, like it was just classic vintage Mo Salah. It was just like it's like riding a bike. It's like when you know how to do it, you don't forget. And Mo Salah will have that in his locker till the day he dies. And once you can hit balls like that, you don't forget how to do it. It's just if you hit it, and as you get older, you're gonna score them less and less. But it's still Mo Salah, and he knows how to kill a ball. And that goal, like Ben said, when he hit that, and I seen the bend on it, I initially thought, "Wow, this is going in." But when he took the penalty, I was like, "Nah." I just had a feeling that this was not going to happen. I think Dominic Szoboszlai should jump on our penalties going forward. But that's another discussion for another day.
What do you think, Aldo, about the curling of that was? I mean, even you have to say that was classic Salah, wasn't it?
All I will say is simply this: Mo Salah's not back, so before anybody starts that caper, forget it. It was a beautiful way to bring up his 50th goal in the Premier League, in the Champions League, and that's all I'll say about that. The penalty was an absolute joke. Why try Panenka? It was an absolute farce.
What was that? What he was trying to do? Because I don't know what he was trying.
No, but the goal, it was classical Salah, but you see one of them every blue moon now.
Yeah, but it was nice to see it again.
It was, but I didn't get excited about it because we won 4-0. We won 4-0, and it was a great performance. And the thing is, as well, I think it needs to be mentioned because nobody said it yet. I thought the goalkeeper pulled on some absolutely stunning saves last night because it could have been more than 4. It could have been 5, 6, 7 easily. He had a great game, that fella, last night in goal for them.
It was the same in the first leg, wasn't it? The goal. It was the same in the first leg. The goal, he was just pulling out worldies out of the backside.
Yeah, he had a worldie, and the ones who didn't save, the ref blew. So he wouldn't have survived in the Premier League against Arsenal or anything because he would have never gotten a free kick against any of them.
I don't know how that was in that.
Credit to Salah, 50 goals, congratulations.
Yeah, he's the first African player to get 50 goals in the Champions League, and that is outstanding. I also read that Wirtz is now the player in one single Champions League game with the second highest created chances in a single game, and he has 8 chances created in one game, and the highest is 9 by Kevin De Bruyne against Real Madrid. So, as we've said, it was just Galatasaray, but it's still 8. It's just one short. So I think there were a lot of good performances yesterday. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, in defence of Florian Wirtz, I would say that the Champions League suits him better than the Premier League at the minute because it's continental teams he's playing. He's not adapted fully to the Premier League yet. That'll take him 2 years at least, and then you'll see the real Florian Wirtz in the Premier League.
But you kind of talked a little bit against yourself there, Aldo, because you say one of the best players in Europe needs 2 years to figure out how to play in Premier League. Yeah. But you're still saying that there's no difference playing against Spurs. It's easier to.
Excuse me. How many foreigners have we signed, and it's took them 2 years to bed in?
No, but the point is, it's harder to play in the Premier League because of the intensity. That's why it's more difficult to dominate games compared to Champions League or European League or whatever it is.
The example I use for Florian Wirtz, his struggles is Rodri. I mean, look at how he started his career in England. He was useless in the first season, useless in his second season, and in his third season, after he got used to the physicality and the differences and intensity and whatnot. He went on to become the best midfielder in the world and ended up winning a Ballon d'Or. It just great players, even the soon to be best players, take time to adapt to a different league. And it's not helped versus Case that he's come into a team that lost a friend, a brother. He's come into a team that's been very unstable, a team that was considered in rebuild, and a team that was also given champion standards because obviously we deserved to, because we actually had to have those kind of standards when we did win the league. So it's kind of been a mixed emotions since he's come in, because on one hand he's got to prove himself and live up to his 100 million price tag, but he's also got to head into an unstable team it's been poorly coached for the majority of the season.
A year.
So it's been the worst, probably the worst coached team in the Prem this season.
Yeah, a year. We've been shit for a year, apart from last night.
And the Madrid game.
So explain, how can you be shit for 12 months apart from last night? It just doesn't add up.
We've been good in several Champions League games now, haven't we?
We've had a couple of good league games as well, but the thing is, the league, because we've been so bad in the grand scheme of things, that those good league games kind of mean nothing unless we do get top four.
And some of those Premier League games, we have been better than the results give us. It's been a kind of post out instead of post in. Now,
because the thing is, don't forget, like so many games we've missed, we've blundered so many chances, and that's no excuse. The players need to be better, especially like Ekitike and Salah. We've created a lot of chances and been so unlucky. How many times this season have we conceded to a player scoring their first goal in their career or of the season, like against Fulham? 9 times out of 10, Harrison Reed does not score that goal, and we win 2-1. 9 times out of 10, Andre doesn't score that goal in the week, and it's a 1-1 draw, but it's still not a loss. Like, how many times does Gomez make the mistake of not running down to his box and leaving Richarlison unmarked? 9 times out of 10, he doesn't. So there's been some mistakes, poor mistakes. We've been very unlucky as well, because some results do not reflect the performances of those games. The Burnley game, for example, as well.
But we've also been very lucky, because if you take the first 5 games of the season away, if we hadn't won the first 5, where would we have been in the league? Would have been in the bottom 3. And like Deck said, after the Spurs game, because I watched him on Cop TV, because he was interviewed, and I listened to what Deck said, and the first thing Deck said was, "I want Slot sacked straight away. I've had enough." Have you changed your opinion, Deck? And you still want him?
No, I think you can't base it off one performance. As I feel right now, I'm happy that my team won a game, and I'm happy my team and my football club and Anfield was back to its best yesterday. And if we'll know by the weekend, if we go back to the way we played against Spurs, against Brighton on Saturday, then Arne Slot is just not the man for the job. I think that Slot goes into summer regardless. I think it's a case of, unless something miraculous happens and we win a Champions League, for example, FSG will already be looking to replace Slot. There's too much water under the bridge for me, and it'll take a lot. Like I said, the Champions League, not just for FSG to keep Slot in a job, but for me and a lot of other fans to get back behind this manager. Now, if we play like last night every game of this till the end of the season, then I will slowly get back on board with this coach and this team and this set of players. But as it stands, I'm happy that my club won. I'm not here to slander Arne Slot, I will give him his props for yesterday, and I'm not here to slander the team. But I think on Sunday, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was enough was enough, and I think Szoboszlai come out and said what he said, and that shown that it hit the boos at Anfield at full time. The way we played, we didn't finish our dinner. Spurs were going to always find a way to get back into that game, and that was the turning point for me. And maybe Arnie Slot and the rest of the lads needed that on Sunday to be the case. And then we come back last night, less than 3 days later, and put in a performance like that. Well, I tell you what, if we go and we play Brighton like that on the weekends, then and we carry on with the good performances until the end of the season, I will slowly start to get back behind the lads and the coach.
So
my final question now, and I can start with you, Aldo, is before we have to wrap it up. Now, my final question is, we got to win. We got a good performance against a poor team, but we got a good performance. Now, Craig, what do you think about the game on Saturday? Do you think we'll win? And no real big explanations, but has the win given you a little bit more hope? Or what are your predictions about the game on Saturday?
Well, looking at how we've played all season in the Premier League and looking at how we've performed after Champions League games, and we don't win many 12:30 kickoffs as it is. I think we're just going to go revert back to type. It'll be as we were before the Galatasaray game. I don't see us beating Brighton, to be honest with you. I did have a question for you all, but it doesn't matter. I'll let you crack on.
Yeah, but if you have time, we can take it. Ben, what about you? Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, my thoughts on the Brighton game are Slot just has to stick with what just worked. And I've had this criticism of Slot for a long time. He's overcoaching this team. He's making simple decisions look complicated. Whereas on the left wing, holding with Salah on the touchline, basically having a conversation with the linesman. What's the point of that? Get your best players close to the goal, like he did last night with Verts and Salah central with Ekitike, and it worked. Look, we dominated from start to finish. Yeah, again, it's Galatasaray. Still, how often we should be saying that about most teams? So it's only Wolves, it's only Tottenham, but we haven't. Why? Because Salah and Verts have been their positions and roles in this team have been complicated. Slot has overcoached this team to a point where, like Craig said the other day, I think you said it. The players' brains are fried. So they're getting so many different instructions to little tweaks.
But keep it simple. Do you have more hope for a good result on Saturday due to the performance, or do you feel like Craig that we probably are going to go back to where we were?
It's complicated because I can't say I'm confident for a game until I see a lineup. Like, if I see that we've reverted back to what we played at the lineup versus Spurs or something, or the similar system versus Spurs, then I'm instantly going to be less confident. But if I see a similar lineup, if not the same thing, then I'll be confident because that lineup clearly works and it gets the best out of all the players in it.
All right, Dick, what do you think? Are you more hopeful or not?
Right. Do you know what? I've just got to base it off what I've seen, and that was we played really well yesterday. Obviously, been away from home, so it's going to play into it at a 12:30 kickoff. But I just hope the lads just go out and win the game. If you were to ask me, I'm probably about 80% confident that we'll win the game. But I think Ben made a few good points. They're overcoached slightly, and I think last night we reverted back to sort of go out there and do what you know how to do best. And I'll say this: I just hope that it's enough motivation for the lads to go out and get the game won on Saturday. And when we see that lineup on Saturday morning, we'll all know whether we will win that game, because Cody Gakpo might be in the team. He might revert back to playing a different formation. We don't know. But I'm 80% confident we'll win the game.
I think this game is the point is one thing, but it's also important for the mentality to go into the break with a not just one per good performance, but two. But you had a question, Aldo. What was it?
Yeah, my question was to all three of you here about what's come out this week regarding the manager that Liverpool, the Stuttgart manager, Sebastian Hoeneß.
I mean, I see a German manager from a medium-sized German club with a cap, and I'm instantly thinking.
Because I've just got a feeling that a certain ex-player who we're linked with, this is my gut instinct telling me this, I've just got a funny feeling that next season you'll see him in the dugout in the Premier League, but not at Liverpool. I think he's taking over from Pep Guardiola. Xabi Alonso.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me.
I'm not even.
That's why
the Xabi Alonso's not my first choice.
No, he's not any of my choices. That's why I think Liverpool are targeting this Sebastian Hoeneß.
It's going to be funny though. We're going from Arne Slot to Sebastian Hoeneß. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't read that, so I have no opinion. But I think that's a good time to wrap it up, guys. I want to say thank to everybody who's been with me today. That's Aldo, the owner of this wonderful show, Deck and Ben. Yeah. Please give us a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, guys.